So I'd like to cover another Python basics, which is lists and how to use them. So I've started a new file here, just list.py. This is in the same folder as the tutorial, so you have our main right here and our lists right there. So that's all good and great. Now I want to talk about how lists and variables are different and how to use lists to try and streamline certain things. So okay, let's get started with variable. So for example, var1 is equal to 0. So now we have a variable, right? And it's very clearly a variable. But we can have a list too. Now a list may look like a variable because basically it is, but with the addition of these brackets. Now there's a difference between these brackets, and the square brackets, and it's important that in this case you do actually use square brackets. And inside these square brackets, let's say we have a bunch of colors. Let's say the colors of the rainbow. So red, green. Right. So of course, just as always, if it's a string, it needs to be called defined as a string. So red, green, blue, no capitals. Oh, um, that's a bit odd. Blue. What is going on? Ah, right. Green, blue, blue, red, green, blue, and we can say violet. Just for now, violet. Whatever. So now we have a list which is four different variables inside one variable, and lists are different in that case. So let's just call this variables, and let's call this lists. So the it's very easy to become confused because variables look a lot like lists, especially if you don't have this and you're just working with just var and list. So you need to name them very well. I would recommend, for example, list underscore, then you have your variable slash list name, um, and then you have equals to, or not equals to, but then that can be the name of your variable or list, and you can have list or variable here, so that way you know. What you can say var, so then I can say, instead of saying var1, I can say var underscore 1. So then I know it's a variable, and I know it's variable 1 in that case, right? So it's important to have that. It, you should probably have something like that, although it can be different for everybody. You don't have to use this exact naming scheme, but you should see that most people will use a naming scheme to make things a little bit neater and more organized. So for this example, we're just going to import random. So I'm just going to create it here, import random, and we can import time just in case I end up needing it. Import time, and I'm going to import random as rd as usual, and time is t. But this is how I do it. You do not have to use as, but that just makes it easier. Basically, it allows me to be lazier in this kind of situation. So say I want to print no parentheses, I want to print a So we're gonna go rd dot choice, and then we're going to fill that out with the list 1. So this is going to print out a random choice from these 4. Boom. So now it chose violet, red, red, violet, blue, green. Right, so we can see that it works. Beautiful, awesome. So what if we decide to change this to rock, paper, and scissors? And now, 1 second, I forgot to put that there. Now, if we play this, it's going to choose randomly from rock, paper, or scissors. This allows you to play a game of rock, paper, scissors with Python. So we can make this very simple. For example, I can then say instead of, so I can print this, and I can say print that, and then I can say computer or AI choice equals this, and then concatenate that. Boom, simple, easy. And then I can say print user choice, and I can say variables here, so user choice, and then make sure I want to capitalize that and put var there, and then say we'll make that 0, and then we can say before that we can just say print 1 for rock, print 2 for paper, print and then 3 for scissors. And then we can say user choice, actually we can say delete that last one, and then say var user choice equals to input from scissors, no sorry, from user choice. So then as an example, we can then say print from this list 1, and now say you want a specific part of this list. So say I, as a user, chose 1 for rock. So I would say 1, and then this is going to say, well, how do I pick the first part of this list? And that is just going to be the list with square brackets, and we're going to put in var user choice. So var user choice is going to be needs to be set as an int, so an integer value, and inside this it's going to check for this, and it's going to say which part of the list it wants. So for example, I can say, oh, the AI chose rock, I'm going to choose paper. Oh, one thing about lists that you should remember is that lists start from 0, not from 1. So you should do that, where it's the user choice minus 1. So that way if they choose 2, they're not going to get scissors, they're going to get paper, right? So that's just a little quirk that you need to remember. So I can say, oh, this thing chose paper, I'm going to choose scissors. Boom. So I've chosen scissors. So we don't really have an output for a proper output for that. So we can say take this, cut it, and just attach it at the end for now, and comment it out. So boom, and comment. So now we have this, and we can say user choice and then concatenate that, and concatenate this with that, concatenate that with this beautiful text right there. Boom. So now if we want to play rock paper scissors, we can say, okay, so the robot is chosen, I'm going to choose paper. Okay, boom. So now we have a tie because the user chose paper and the AI chose paper as well. So we get that output, right? So that's pretty cool. And then if you want to just say you want to make it super pretty for the user, you can say print that, and then you can say the robot has chosen, choose your pick. And that can just be like, oh, so the robot has chosen, I'm aware of this. See, the robot has chosen, choose your pick. So now you set up robot as the kind of other player here, and then you can say user choice, so then I would win in this case, right? You can make a compare algorithm for this, and that would just kind of say when you do play, who wins. If you win, you who won, and if you lose, who won. If you tied, play another game. You can make a compare algorithm, but it is quite complicated, and if you do want to, I'll leave it up to you, and you're welcome to send me the code via WhatsApp or email, either way. So that is everything you need to know about lists for now. Just make sure to remember that you use this to call a specific part of a list. And yeah, that's how you play rock, paper, scissors with a list.